If I could strip away every mystery and every myth about success and reduce it to a single habit, the habit without which no self-made millionaire can exist, it would be this: persistence. I have studied men who built fortunes from nothing. I have seen them in moments of triumph and in hours of deepest despair. They differed in background, in education, in personality. Some were quiet and methodical, others loud and daring. But they all shared this one unshakable trait: they refused to quit. Let me tell you a truth most people do not want to hear: talent will not make you rich. I have known talented men who could compose a symphony, design a machine, or close a sale better than anyone, yet they died broke because they gave up at the first sign of resistance. Education will not make you rich. I have met scholars with degrees enough to fill a wall, but without the will to persist, they accomplish nothing of consequence. Even good ideas will not make you rich. The world is full of brilliant ideas buried in the graves of men who abandoned them. But persistence, that stubborn refusal to surrender, will carry an ordinary man to heights the extraordinary never reach. It is the habit of staying the course when others turn back. It is the discipline of moving forward step by step, even when the path is unclear and the reward seems far away. Andrew Carnegie, the man who first challenged me to study the philosophy of achievement, told me plainly, "Young man, you will find the greatest difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is not in what they know, but in what they are willing to endure." And in my years of research, I have found his words to be true. You see, persistence is not a single act. It is a state of mind. It begins with a burning desire so strong that no defeat, no rejection, no delay can extinguish it. It feeds on definiteness of purpose, on a clear vision of what you want and why you want it. It thrives when you surround yourself with those who encourage you, and it withers when you allow the voices of doubt to take root in your mind. The habit of persistence is not formed in comfort. It is forged in difficulty. Each time you choose to press on when quitting would be easier, you strengthen it. And each time you quit, you weaken it until one day you may find you have no will left to fight for anything at all. This is why I tell you, if you wish to join the ranks of the self-made, you must train yourself now to persist in small things, so you will have the strength to persist when the stakes are great. Persistence is often misunderstood. People imagine it as the stubborn clenching of the teeth, the kind of blind refusal to change course. But persistence, in its truest form, is intelligent. It is not the mere repetition of effort, it is the sustained application of effort toward a clearly defined end with the willingness to adjust methods when necessary. A man may push on a locked door for years, but if he never thinks to try the key in his pocket, he is not persistent, he is merely obstinate. The self-made millionaire does not waste his energy in such futility. He studies the problem, learns from each failure, and alters his strategy while never abandoning his aim. I recall the story of Thomas Edison during his quest to perfect the incandescent light. He is often quoted as having failed thousands of times, but Edison himself said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is persistence, not because he repeated the same mistake endlessly, but because he learned something new from each attempt and used that knowledge to move closer to success. It is here that most people falter. They mistake the first obstacle for a sign to stop, or they interpret a delay as proof that their dream is impossible. They look at temporary defeat and call it permanent failure. The millionaire does the opposite. He takes defeat as instruction, as information, as proof that he is one step wiser than before. Persistence is also a habit of emotion as much as it is a habit of action. To persist, you must guard against the corrosive influence of discouragement. Discouragement is the thief of persistence. It whispers that the effort is wasted, that the struggle is pointless, that success is for someone else. If you listen to it long enough, you will put down your tools and walk away. The successful man learns to silence that voice by keeping his mind fixed on his vision. One technique I've taught many students is to write down the reasons why you must succeed, not why you want to, but why you must. Review this list daily, especially in moments of setback. This keeps your desire alive, and desire is the fuel of persistence. Without desire, even the strongest will eventually give in. With desire, even the weakest will surprise himself with his endurance. I have met men who built fortunes by persistence alone. Men who, by their own admission, lacked the education, connections, and brilliance of their competitors. Yet they possessed this one habit, and it carried them over obstacles that destroyed others. In their vocabulary, quit was not a word they would change the route, but never the destination. Remember, a dream dies the moment you stop working toward it. But so long as you keep moving, even if slowly, it remains alive. And life in the realm of achievement is everything. I've often said that persistence is the insurance policy for your dreams. It is the guarantee that no matter how rough the journey becomes, you will still be standing when the tide turns in your favor. The world will test you. It will place obstacles in your path, not because it seeks to destroy you, but because it demands proof that you are worthy of the rewards you seek. Most people fail these tests not because they are incapable, but because they do not have the habit of staying in the fight long enough for victory to appear. Andrew Carnegie once told me something I have never forgotten. The man who can stay the course after others have quit will find the richest minds. He spoke both literally and figuratively. I have seen miners abandon a vein of ore after months of work, only for another to take over and strike gold within days. I have seen businessmen close their doors in frustration, only for another man to step into the same market with renewed energy and reap the profits. The difference is not in opportunity, it is in persistence. Consider the principle of 3 feet from gold, a story I have shared many times. A man invested heavily in mining equipment and began digging with high hopes. After weeks of effort, he found a trace of gold but then hit barren rock. He became discouraged, sold his equipment to a junk dealer, and walked away. That dealer consulted a mining engineer who discovered that the vein of gold lay just 3 feet from where the first man had stopped digging. Had he persisted for just a little longer, he would have been a wealthy man. This is the danger of quitting too soon. You may be standing on the very edge of success and never know it. Persistence also requires patience. We live in a world that worships speed, where men expect instant results from minimal effort. But wealth, whether financial or personal, rarely comes instantly. It grows like a tree, requiring seasons of planting, nurturing, and waiting before the harvest. The man without patience will dig up his seeds to see if they are growing, and in doing so, destroy them. The man with persistence plants, waters, and trusts the process. And let me warn you, persistence will test your character. It will force you to confront doubt, criticism, and even ridicule. You will be told you are wasting your time. You will watch others, seemingly less capable, achieve results more quickly than you. If your desire is weak, these moments will break you. But if your desire is strong, they will only strengthen your resolve. The habit that all self-made millionaires share is not the absence of difficulty. It is the refusal to let difficulty dictate their fate. They bend, but they do not break. They adapt, but they do not abandon. There's a certain quiet strength in persistence that most never come to understand. It is not always loud. It is not always dramatic. In fact, the most persistent men I have met do not announce their determination. They simply rise each morning and continue the work, regardless of yesterday's results. This steady, almost stubborn commitment creates something extraordinary: momentum. Momentum is the invisible ally of the persistent man. At first, progress may be slow, painfully slow, but as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the compounding effect of consistent effort begins to show. Opportunities start to appear that would never have revealed themselves to the man who gave up early. People begin to take notice, not because of a single spectacular act, but because they see a pattern. This is a man who can be counted on to keep his word to himself and to others. Persistence earns trust. Trust brings relationships. Relationships bring opportunities. Opportunities bring success. And success, sustained over time, brings wealth not only in money but in influence and in the respect of others. Now, I must address a common misconception. Some believe that persistence means never changing your plan. This is not so. Persistence is about staying true to your goal, not your methods. If the bridge is washed out, you find another way across the river. You do not sit on the bank insisting the bridge must be rebuilt before you can proceed. Self-made millionaires are flexible in approach but inflexible in purpose. I have seen this truth in Henry Ford's story. When he first set out to produce the automobile, his early designs were ridiculed. Investors doubted him. Competitors outspent him. But Ford persisted, not by repeating the same failures, but by improving his designs, refining his methods, and seeking efficiency where others saw impossibility. Had he quit at the first wave of criticism or the first mechanical breakdown, his name would be unknown to you today. The road to wealth is littered with the abandoned dreams of those who lack persistence. Some had better ideas than Ford, Edison, or Carnegie, but ideas alone are powerless without the will to see them through to completion. The truth is, you are never defeated until you accept defeat. You may be delayed, detoured, or even temporarily knocked down, but so long as you rise again, you remain in the fight. And in that fight lies your only chance to win. Persistence is the price the universe demands before it grants any worthwhile reward. It does not care how intelligent you are, how charming, or how wealthy your parents may have been. It cares only for this: will you keep moving when every excuse to stop has been handed to you? I have stood face to face with men at the very brink of quitting. Some turned back and lived the rest of their days wondering, what if? Others clenched their jaws, steadied their hearts, and pressed forward. And these are the men whose names we remember. The habit of persistence is built in the small moments, long before the grand challenges arrive. Every time you finish what you start, whether it is a simple task at home or a complex project at work, you lay another brick in the wall of your endurance. Every time you keep your promise to yourself, you strengthen your resolve for the battles ahead. You will not always feel motivated. You will not always feel confident. You may even, at times, feel utterly defeated. But here is the secret. You do not need to feel strong in order to act strong. You simply need to take the next step and then the next until motion itself reignites your spirit. I urge you to engrave this truth into your mind. Quitting guarantees failure. Persistence makes failure temporary. Even if you are moving slowly, you are still moving. And while the world may reward speed, it only respects those who finish what they begin. When you commit to persistence, you change your relationship with adversity. Setbacks become training grounds. Delays become preparation. Criticism becomes confirmation that you are on a path bold enough to disturb the comfortable. Look at any self-made millionaire, and you will find a history of trials that would have crushed a lesser man. Their wealth is not simply a product of clever thinking or fortunate timing. It is the harvest of years of consistent, determined, unrelenting effort. So I leave you with this challenge. Choose something worthy of your life's energy and refuse to abandon it until it is done. Do not measure your progress by how quickly you move, but by the fact that you have not stopped moving. One day you will look back and see that the habit you built, the one habit all self-made millionaires share, was not just persistence. It was the habit of refusing to surrender your destiny to anyone or anything outside yourself. And in that habit lies the power to turn any dream into reality.